And now, you, the viewer. Our first comment today comes from Jay Larson on Facebook in response to my post. I can't say that. I just got a ticket for distracted driving for using my GPS. See, I can't cuss on TV, but I can on the interwebs. It was really a ticket for, well, check this out. When you noticed that I was using my phone for navigation here to help me drive better, and your fellow officer told me about it, you obviously weren't planning on pulling me over. And then I responded with a bit of a smart aleck remark. Is this a ticket for being a smart aleck to cops? Because you weren't planning on pulling me over before that, were you?
Well, you can dispute all that in court.
But enough about me. This segment is supposed to be about how brilliant our viewers are. So, from Jay Larson, he said to a local police officer, "Do you know why I pulled you over today?" Me. Because fighting crime is real hard. Anyways, also from Facebook, Scott Hallowwood writes, "My IVAW shirt came in the mail today." It's Iraq Veterans Against the War. "I wore it to the grocery store. I was proud of all the weird stares I received. A 6'4", 280-pound dude with a message for peace on his chest kind of draws a lot of attention." Nice. And now over to the tubes, where Lightwaiter writes, "Security is a propaganda word for control." And in response to our Take Back Independence Day campaign to ask people to join us in wearing black instead of celebrating, Caleb Leverett comments on Facebook, "Citizen, you have the right to pay taxes. If you give up that right, you will be put in prison. Any taxes will be used against you, and will also be used to bomb the out of other countries. You have the right to a blood-sucking attorney. We know you cannot afford an attorney because you pay taxes. So Big Brother will provide one for you, and we will call it fair." Well said. From Facebook, on our segment on fluoride by Luke Rudowski, Linda Rabbit writes, "Your show tonight relieved years of guilt. I slept off of giving my newborn son fluoride drops on his gum 27 years ago. Now I am glad I did." And on Facebook, regarding our segment titled "Protests Erupt in China and Greece. When is it the USA's turn?" Russ Severson writes, "We don't riot over silly things like unemployment and oppression. We save our energy for important things like sports championships." Speaking of which, I just changed my profile picture to this. Now, this is from the hockey riots in Canada, those silly Canucks, but I hope to recreate this here at some point during the Levolution. Call me a hopeless romantic if you must. All right, back to the tubes, where in response to our new segment from Anonymous, the amazing anarchist writes, "Once governments shut down the internet and the people have no porn to watch, only then will they rise up and attack for glorious porn." Now, I have to allow myself to be corrected on something, sort of. From yesterday's episode on YouTube, Lord DiHalto writes, "Is the disinfo intentional? The Greek people are seeing beyond the curtain now and are well aware that the current PM is selling off public assets to foreign entities. His buddies, specifically speaking, a group of wealthy Turks, have expressed interest in various islands and public infrastructure, and since the Turks are pretty much Greece's mortal enemies, this has pissed off many Greeks. As far as don't cut ours, cut theirs, Greece grew out of that months ago. Americans are still there." All right, well, it's not intentional, no intentional disinfo here, but I suppose my characterization of the protests in Greece was a bit off, but let's be honest, many in Greece started protesting because of proposed cuts. I'm very glad to hear they're moving past the demanding stuff phase, but I know for a fact that a lot of them aren't. And on Facebook, my friend Kim Shady shared a quote I must pass on from John Oatkin. "Have you heard about the vast libertarian conspiracy? We're going to take over the government and leave you alone." All right. Our tweet of the week comes from someone with an awesome handle, Real Ninja Duck, at Adam Kokesh. "Folks says, if I don't like TSA, then I shouldn't fly. How about if you're such a pussy that you need TSA to protect you, then you don't fly." All right. Finally, an email, archaic, I know. Dan writes via Adam at adamversustheman.com. "Dear Adam, your show is first class." Well, thanks. "I have two suggestions. First, our rulers have the money and the power. What they crave is respect. This is the easiest thing to take away from them. That is why your dancing thing was so successful. Anytime you can embarrass the clowns, you have done your duty. Second, every congressman, flunky, wife travels in a chauffeured SUV. Do some research on government private jets. The taxpayers being manhandled by the TSA will be enraged when they hear how many low-level flunkies' wives have free access to private jets. By the way, the Fed has a fleet of private jets they lend to people they want to influence. This particular form of bribery should be exposed. And by the way, this morning there was a arrest and a big shutdown of the roads around the Pentagon that caused some of my staff to be late because a Marine reservist was there with some shell casings.